Welcome to Before the Kickoff, the Daily Island's weekly pregame show and your number one source for Hawkeye football. I'm Colin Carruthers.
And I'm Elise Gann. We're going to break down everything you need to know before the kickoff.
Well, Elise, it feels like, at least for me, we're coming off of possibly a top 5, top 10 offensive viewing experience from the Iowa football team this past weekend.
Oh, I loved it. It was phenomenal. Super fun to watch.
Well, I mean, you know Chris Berman's fastest minute or fastest 3 minutes. Are you familiar with that at all?
Yes, I am.
Well, this recap here is going to feel a lot like that to fit in all the scoring from this game.
The Iowa Hawkeyes welcome the UMass Minutemen with an opening drive touchdown pass there to Seth Anderson. It only took about a minute and a half in this first quarter to get that first touchdown for Kirk Ferentz as he's searching to solidify himself in the record books. But Seth Anderson with a second touchdown there. He's the first Iowa player with 2 receiving touchdowns in the first quarter since Maurice Brown did it back in 2002. And obviously this crowd is fired up. You want to talk about some more history. Keaton Weegan finding his way around a few defenders and dives for the pylon, grabbing 6 of his own and solidifies himself as the first Iowa player with a rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown, punt return touchdown, and a kick return touchdown in a single career. But stick right here for more Keaton Weegan history. What you're about to see is the longest punt return touchdown in Iowa history, Kinnick Stadium history, and Big Ten history as he houses this one 95 yards for a touchdown. And obviously this crowd is fired up. What an amazing run from Keaton Weegan, looking again to win that Jet Award like he did last season. And then Hank Brown will get in during some garbage time, find his first passing touchdown in the black and gold. Iowa wins this game 47-7, and Kirk Ferentz solidifies himself atop Big Ten history.
Well, Elise, it was really fun doing that recap because it felt like a lot of cool stuff was coming out of that game.
Yeah, Colin, for sure. There's a lot more from that game, though, that the country has taken notice of. And for that, we'll swing it over to Ryan Paris in the newsroom.
All the talk these last few weeks has been about breaking records. Now, we all know by now that Kirk Ferentz has become the winningest coach in Big Ten history, getting win number 206 on his career against UMass. That broke a tie with Ohio State's Woody Hayes with 205 wins in both of their careers. Now Kirk stands alone at the top of the Big Ten, and here's what he had to say about the historic game.
Really happy about it, and another 10 days we'll be able to maybe just enjoy it a little bit, but you know, right now it's on to Rutgers, it really is, but it was a really special night, certainly in a lot of areas, and you know, I really enjoyed the evening, but boy, it was a quick night too.
And lost in the hubbub last week was that Mark Gronowski also made some history of his own. His 51st win as a starting quarterback is the most by any player in Division I history. Boise State's Kellen Moore, who's now the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, achieved 50 wins in his college career from 2008 to 2011. And Gronowski, who achieved 49 of his wins at South Dakota State, achieved number 50 in Week 1 against Albany. He had a chance to get the record in the Cy-Hawk game, but because they lost, it turned out to happen against UMass at home. Guys, tons of history going on with the Iowa football team. Just wonder what's in store for this weekend. Back to you.
Well, those are some records that I don't think anyone will be touching for quite a while.
Absolutely. Some really cool records set for Iowa, which probably carries some good momentum heading into this next game.
Absolutely, it does. Starting up with Big Ten play, it's exactly what this team is looking for, especially with a short week. They're on the road, so you're going into that wanting to be in the best shape of the season so far. And, well, Rutgers, they've started out solid out of the gate.
They absolutely have. They're currently 3-0 with wins over Ohio, Miami of Ohio, and Norfolk State. In those 3 games, they're averaging 46.3 points and are led by senior quarterback Athan Kaliak-Manis, who's in his 2nd season there after transferring from Minnesota. So far this year, he's completed 72.9% of passes for 820 yards of offense and 7 touchdowns.
Well, those numbers might be slightly inflated as he's faced 2 of the worst defenses in the country. Ohio's being 132nd and Miami, Ohio's being 133rd in pass coverage. Well, Iowa's defense is much better, though, and it might be a bit of a wake-up call for Kaliak-Manis. He's going to get some flashbacks to the 2 times he faced the Hawks with Minnesota in 2022 and 2023, where he went a combined 17 for 40 passing. Since the Hawks had seen him in the past, they were able to go back on some extra film.
We watched a couple games at Minnesota. I know their OC was also there a couple years ago, so we watched some tape on that, and then watched some tape on their recent games last year. So definitely in the film room, getting prepared for this week.
However, this time could be a bit different considering the Iowa defense has yet to force a turnover this season, which seems to be a definite talking point in the DB meetings.
Coach Wallace is funny. I think right now he calls us the no boys, because we have no turnovers. But no, that's just something that motivates us. And then Coach Parker, he preaches, the turnovers will come. Don't try to press or force him and force a turnover and do something extra or something that's not your job.
Well, either way, it certainly does help. He has 3 solid wide receivers he can go to seemingly on any play. Ian Strong is the Scarlet Knights' top returning receiver, though he did not play in their last game against Norfolk State, but nothing indicates that he'll miss anything against Iowa. KJ Duff has led the way with 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. This team can also rely on transfer from North Texas DT Sheffield, who sat primarily in the slot this year and has collected 201 yards and 1 touchdown. TJ Hall shared the attention to detail that has been taken when going against a strong receiver room.
You got to be ready on every play, especially when they have 3 receivers where they like to go to. They could go to one guy on one play or one guy on another play. And you got to be locked in on your keys every play, never knowing which play might come to you.
Well, worth noting as well, the Trenches is owned by 3 linemen from Rutgers that are rated in the top 15 of all Big Ten linemen and have combined to be ranked 4th in the country in run block protection, according to Pro Football Focus. Overall, this is an offense, this Hawkeye team, and in specific, Zach Lutmer did give plenty of credit to.
They got a really good quarterback. It starts with him. He's a veteran. Super tall wide receivers. They got a 6'6" receiver, 6'4" receiver, and then a good slot guy that they brought in from North Texas. So they definitely got a lot of talent, but we got to try to limit some of their plays.
Well, let's flip things over and talk about the defensive side of the ball for Rutgers, specifically their secondary.
Yeah, Colin, as a whole, they've allowed 57.1% of passes completed and are ranked 107th in the country. Cornerback transfer from Marshall, Jacoby Henderson, has allowed just 1 completion on 7 contested targets this year and has allowed -4 yards. Penn State transfer Cam Miller is the slot corner, and the numbers are the exact opposite from Henderson. Receivers he's covered have been targeted 8 times more than any other DB on the roster, and he's allowed 13 completions on 18 of those targets for 156 yards. But the nice thing about this defense set is that it is extremely similar to what UMass would run, which makes sense because their new head coach was the defensive coordinator at Rutgers last season. This pretty much gives Iowa a second week of prep to face possibly the same look as last week.
Kind of similar to last week's game, so they're a little more bigger, a little more physical and stuff like that. So we kind of expecting a lot of the same type of defense. It's a lot of help, especially it being a short week. So the preparation, we were already kind of looking forward a little bit, but seeing that and being able to carry over some plays.
This should be a solid test for Iowa on the road, and if we know the Hawkeye close game script at this point, a lot of these games come down to a final field goal, and after a few mishaps against UMass, Drew Stevens is ready to thrive in those moments once again.
That's what I signed up for. I love being the guy to save the day. That might sound a little selfish, but that's what I signed up for. The highs are high and the lows are low.
Well, now I think it's time for possibly our favorite part of each week.
Absolutely. Another great story for this week's Kid Captain. Cole Krieger has a story on Liam Bartleson.
When Liam Bartleson was just 2 days old, doctors discovered he was having hundreds of seizures a day. He was soon transferred to Stead Family Children's Hospital.
He kept having seizures, upwards of 200 or more seizures a day.
Liam's parents followed their son to the Children's Hospital, waiting for answers. After 5 weeks, Liam was dismissed from the hospital with no answers towards his diagnosis. When Liam and the Bartlesons returned home, the seizures continued.
She diagnosed him with his MMPSI, malignant migrating partial seizures in infancy.
Liam's condition is considered to be a severe form of epilepsy, which is caused by a gene mutation. After lots of trial and error with different medications, Liam's care team prescribed him CBD oil to help manage his seizures. When combined with clonazepam, a medication that calms the nervous system, Liam's seizures started to decline to less than 10 per day.
From the University of Iowa Children's Hospital to the coaching staff to the players, everybody has been amazing to work with.
Liam is now 11 years old. He loves going to the zoo, anything to do with dinosaurs, spending time outside with family, and enjoys being around his service dog, Miko.
For us, every day is a gift to have Liam with us. We try to, quality of life for him is our main priority, and our doctors are 100% in our corner with that.
From the University of Iowa, Cole Krieger, DITV Sports.
As always, amazing story and always important to learn the strength of these kids.
Yeah, nothing beats the strength of these amazing kids, and it sets everything about this tradition into perspective. But now let's set things into perspective with this matchup with Iowa and Rutgers.
Pencils ready, Jake Rios has the history lesson for this game.
Good morning, class. Dr. Paris is out today. I think he couldn't handle losing the belt, but not to fear because I'm your substitute teacher, Mr. Rios. Let's go ahead with the attendance question. How many times has Iowa matched up against Rutgers? If you said 4, you clearly did your readings. Despite Rutgers being the birthplace of college football, the Hawkeyes have only played the Scarlet Knights 4 times, and Iowa has won every single time. Iowa first beat Rutgers in 2016 by a score of 14-7, a full 2 years after Rutgers joined the Big Ten Conference. Then in 2019, Iowa decimated them 30-0 at home. And then in 2022, they won on the road 27-10. The most recent matchup occurred 2 seasons ago, with Iowa shutting them out 22-0. And taking a look at their head coach, Greg Schiano, he has a record of 96-101. And since rejoining Rutgers football in 2020, he's 3-2 in Big Ten openers, including last year where they beat Washington 21-18. And taking a look at their quarterback, Ethan Kalikianis, does have history against the University of Iowa, as he was the quarterback for Minnesota back in 2023 when Cooper DeJean had the infamous fair catch or not call, taking his touchdown back and causing Minnesota to win the game. I hope you took notes during this discussion because there will be a test regarding Big Ten opponents, and I'm not as strict as the actual professor. Elise, Colin, I need a lunch break. You guys can take it from here.
Thank you, Mr. Rios. I love that there's finally some in-depth history between Iowa's opponents.
Yeah, Elise, we're now in Big Ten play, which means it's time to lock in on some really cool matchups, the Big Ten versus the Big Ten. And for that, we'll send it over to Nick Giles with a look around the Big Ten.
Colin and Elise, we've got a heavy dose of in-conference games slated to kick off across the nation this weekend. This week's calendar offers a plethora of matchups, from an in-state clash between Oregon and Oregon State to a SoCal sword fight with the Spartans in a face-off against the Trojans. Now, I want to zero in on 3 matchups you absolutely need to have your eyes on this weekend. First up, the Washington Huskies are sniffing out revenge for their matchup against Washington State. It's their version of our Cy-Hawk rivalry, and the Cougars beat the Purple and Gold last year 24-19. The Huskies are focusing on this year though, and their running back Jonah Coleman has been a standout for all the right reasons. He currently leads the country in rushing touchdowns and almost set a new career high in rushing yards Week 1 against Colorado State. The fun didn't end there for the UW running back though. He scored 5 touchdowns in Week 2 and tied the Huskies' modern-day record for most in a game. So let me just say, this guy deserves some Scooby snacks the way he's playing for the Dogs right now. I expect him to be used a lot in their game plan this weekend. Next, all eyes turn to Lincoln, Nebraska, where the Big House meets the Big Red. It's a clash of 5-star quarterbacks, tradition, toughness, and electric fan bases. Week 4's matchup for both teams is their first shot at Big Ten play, where Nebraska is hoping to catch Michigan off guard. Memorial Stadium is going to be loud, but Michigan has won the past 4 games against the Huskers, crushing Nebraska in their latest meeting 45-7 in 2023. Matt Rule is seeking his first top 25 win as Nebraska's head coach, and what better way to do it than sending the Wolverines back to Ann Arbor with a loss. And finally, in the heart of the Big Ten, we've got the number 9 ranked team in the land, Illinois, traveling to Bloomington to take on number 21, Indiana. This will be Indiana's first top 20 matchup at home since 1987. Last week, they dismantled Indiana State 73-0. Wow. Third-year receiver Omar Cooper Jr. is coming off a ridiculous performance, charting 207 yards and 4 touchdowns off 10 receptions. You know what? Speaking of Scooby Snacks, throw some to this guy too. Just an unbelievable day for him. But okay, before all the Indiana fans get excited, let's turn to the Illinois side. The Illini's number 9 ranking is their highest in September since the days Dick Butkus played in 1964. A long time ago. Illinois is coming off a strong defensive showing with a shutout victory against Western Michigan. They'll need to maintain the same level of play to keep the Hoosiers under wraps in Saturday's primetime contest. There are plenty of storylines and games going around the Big Ten. Colin and Elise, I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited to see how it all pans out.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Nick, so much for that update around the Big Ten. I was just so focused on polishing my beautiful belt.
You really gotta do that in front of me right now?
I can't help it.
You could. I think you could help it.
I don't want to help it.
I haven't felt it yet this season. Are there like some magical powers with it this year right now?
Sorry. Doesn't want to see you right now.
You know, I don't like that at all. I need to pick up the slack. I need to figure out what's so special about that belt. But with Big Ten play now in front of us, it's time to really hone in on our predictions. So let's go around and hear everyone's predictions, starting with the man who just lost the belt, Ryan Paris.
By now, some of you might know that I'm 2 for 2 on winning the belt when I wear flip-flops when I record. You see, normally we record on Wednesday nights, and I like to go swimming before we come to the studio. Last week, though, didn't win the belt, but I also didn't go swimming because I was feeling sick, and this week we're recording on a Tuesday, so no flip-flops either. That being said, though, I think it's my natural intuition that gets me the wins in these predictions, but if things go awry this week, at least we'll know that the solution lies in the shoe wear. I've got Iowa winning this week 20-10. The play-action passing game going to feature heavily for this offense just like it did against UMass. And the defense was a blocked punt away from pitching a shutout probably last week, so the vibes are really high around this team heading into the Friday night Big Ten opener. Jake, what do you got?
Guys, I feel like Rutgers is just a very non-threatening Big Ten school. Not just in football, but in literally all the sports. Heck, in basketball last season, Iowa won over Rutgers with 2 NBA prospects. I think Iowa will have a slow start, but as we take a look at my predictions, and I just gotta get my cheetahs for this one, we'll take a look over here, and you wanna take very close attention to the notes that I have on the board. Come on now. How does this work? In this modern day and age, you kids are, there we go, all right. You know, Iowa will have a slow start, but they will get it together in the second half and end up winning 23-10. I think Drew Stevens will bounce back and cash in a lot of field goals. He might have doinked an extra point in last week, but he is no Cody Parkey, let me tell you that one. I think he'll be extra fired up going into Rutgers, guys, and I think overall it's going to be 23-10 Iowa.
Well, thanks for teaching the class today, Mr. Rios, and great call picking Iowa there. Now, I don't know if I should get as superstitious as Ryan, but I'm pretty confident in picking the Hawks this weekend too. They had their best performance of the season last week against UMass, so I expect them to carry that same momentum into Jersey. With smart game management and just enough big plays on offense, give me Iowa 24-16.
Well, Ryan, it's pretty unfortunate that you don't have your lucky flip-flops or the belt with you to help you with your predictions, but funny enough, I have both. Honestly, I was just warming up for the first few games of the year, letting the newbies take a stab at it, but you know, this is when the season gets serious, and I am not backing down anytime soon. This week, I'm keeping this thing with me by going with the Hawks. Although it won't be another obliteration of their opponent, I see Iowa leaving Jersey with a 23-16 win over the Scarlet Knights. I could honestly see this one coming down to a last-minute field goal as well, but my faith in the Hawks is high this week, and I think they'll start off Big Ten play with a win.
Well, Elise, it seems like you got a lot going on there for that pick.
Yeah, and it seems to be working pretty well here at college.
Yeah, I might have had the track record so far, but I don't think I need the flip-flops to make a good prediction for this week. You remember Grace last week, whether you call her non-Balliner or Balliner, whatever you want to say. I'm going to steal her pick this week. I've got the Hawkeyes opening up Big Ten play 1-0. I'm sticking with Iowa winning 28-13 in this game. I think Rutgers will get down the field pretty well, as they haven't had a 3-and-out so far this year. They get a few field goals, but my bold prediction this week is that the Iowa defense gets their first turnover of the year. At least I gotta ask, are you enjoying having the belt this week?
I am, and I know what you're gonna say. Don't enjoy it for too long because you'll get it next week and all that, you know, crazy talk. But
I mean, it's kind of what I'm gonna say. I guess
it's wrong.
Well, I should just say, like, enjoy. It's probably pretty cool. It's nice to have it there, but don't expect to have it back-to-back weeks. Someone else is more likely to take it. This guy, hopefully. So enjoy it while it lasts, but we'll see who comes away with it on Friday. But for now, thank you, Ryan, Jake, Nick, and the entire tech crew and you for tuning in to Before the Kickoff.
Make sure to check out the Daily Iowans website and YouTube page for all the latest on Hawkeye sports and coverage of this weekend's game. From the University of Iowa, I'm Elise Gann.
And I'm Colin Crithers. Have a great weekend watching football, everyone.